You are watching Global Dragon TV's special report. Thanks for joining our host Rose Hong for an exclusive interview with the first Chinese-American Congresswoman Judy Chu. Judy Chu was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in July 2009. She represents the 27th Congressional District, which includes Pasadena and the West San Gabriel Valley of Southern California. Representative Chu currently serves on the powerful House Ways and Means Committee, which has jurisdiction over legislation pertaining to taxes, revenues, Social Security, and Medicare. In that committee, Representative Chu is a member of the Subcommittee on Health and Human Resources, giving her oversight over health care reform and crucial safety net programs, worker and family support, and oversight. She also serves on the House Small Business Committee, which has oversight of the Small Business Administration and is the chair of the Subcommittee on Investigations, Oversight, and Regulations. Congresswoman Chu was first elected to the Board of Education for Garvey School District in 1985. From there, she was elected to the Monterey Park City Council, where she served as mayor 3 times. She then was elected to the State Assembly and then California's elected tax board, known as the State Board of Equalization. In 2009, she became the first Chinese-American woman elected to Congress in history. Please tune in to Rose Hong's exclusive interview with Congresswoman Chu.
Congresswoman Judy Chu, thank you so much for taking time today.
Yes, wonderful to be here.
Well, I met you, of course, several times, but last time was in April with the World TCM, Traditional Chinese Medicine and Acupuncture group. You started your public service career in 1985, so it has been a long journey. Mm-hmm. So what obstacles you have to overcome to get to where you are now?
Well, there was very little infrastructure for Asian American candidates at the time, and there were few Asian American elected officials. So it was difficult to find the support network that would make me successful. But finally, I was able to and got into the California State Legislature from first the school board, then the City Council, and then the California Legislature. And then it was so gratifying to be able to pass several bills that enabled us to help the acupuncturists. One was to increase the amount of training that was required to be an acupuncturist, because prior to that time, it took very little, and as a result, acupuncturists weren't properly trained. And the second was to reinstate acupuncture into the workers' compensation system. That was very significant, and also, of course, a great help to those who had injuries on the job, because acupuncture sometimes was the only solution that could really deal with their pain. And then finally, when I got into the Board of Equalization, we were able to change the situation so that acupuncturists did not have to charge patients for the herbs they dispensed, which is similar to what physicians and chiropractors and podiatrists do when they dispense a particular product to their patients. They don't have to pay sales tax.
Well, you have been serving since 2009, so it has been a decade, and you have sponsored and co-sponsored a variety of bills, and one of them I remember is the Apology for Chinese Exclusion Act. So what acts that you have passed, you have sponsored, that you feel that had the most impact?
For the Chinese American community, the apology for the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 was very, very significant, because it had been over 100 years since that terribly discriminatory act was passed, and it negatively affected so many Chinese Americans, made them second-class citizens. They, in fact, could not become naturalized citizens, and because of that, they could not vote. But also, it stopped immigration of Chinese people to the U.S., and as a result, families were split apart forever. And in fact, very few women could come, so it greatly hurt the family situation for Chinese Americans. It was harder to make families succeed in America.
Well, you have family experience, and I remember you telling your family story.
My grandfather came in 1906. He immigrated and then was able to stay. But, of course, he was also a victim of the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. And as a result, just one of the terrible provisions was that you had to carry papers with you at all times, or else be threatened with deportation, even if you were a legal resident of the United States.
Well, in April this year, acupuncturists from 50 states and 15 countries, and they gather here to meet with you to voice their support for 2 acupuncture bills that you're introducing. So could you share with us what is the background for these 2 bills?
We do not have acupuncture available on a national level. We do have it available in the state of California and in other prominent states, but I think it's time for us to have it available for all people all across America. And so when I came to Congress, I made it my mission to open up acupuncture for people who are affected by our federal government programs. And I thought that the first and greatest step would be for our veterans. So many veterans have had to do very grueling physical exercises where they carry 50-pound packs on their backs and run for miles with that. And as a result, they have injuries that are difficult for them to overcome. They are the most deserving of being able to have acupuncture, which can many times be the only thing that can help them. But also, it's really important because it can help them without causing an addiction. Because a typical thing in Western medicine is to give all kinds of prescriptions to addictive opioids. And this is part of our opioid problem. So that's why acupuncture is a tremendous alternative. And in fact, I do have to say that I have had a bill successfully passed which asks for our CMS, which takes care of Medicare and Medicaid, to look into the non-opioid alternatives for treating pain, including acupuncture. So we should have a study on that pretty soon. But what I want to do with the bill, the Acupuncture for Our Heroes Act, is to have acupuncture available to all veterans, regardless of where they live, whether they live in the urban areas, whether they live in the rural areas, that it should be available to them. And we even specify 13 medical conditions that it should be allowed to treat, such as, of course, pain, but also addiction, and also post-traumatic stress syndrome. And the great thing about this is that they could get that treatment outright. See, actually, you could get acupuncture now, but you would have to have it approved, so it would be a bureaucratic process. And so many veterans need treatment now, so that's why this bill would be a great step forward. Now, I would like to get that done, and once we get that done, I would like to see if we can open up acupuncture as a treatment for seniors.
Absolutely.
So my next bill, which we have introduced, but I know is more of a long-term bill, is the Acupuncture for Our Seniors Act. And so that would allow seniors to be able to get acupuncture as an approved use in Medicare.
Well, that'd be fantastic. You know, under the current political environment, both parties are not agreeing on the same issues. I remember in our April meeting, and you're calling for the Republicans to be part of the team to support this bill. And actually, during that meeting, we offered the free acupuncture services to the staffers and also the congressmen here. And one of the success stories was Duncan Hunter from San Diego. And he's a veteran himself, and he had shoulder pains, of course. And he had a 5-minute treatment, and instantly he felt a relief. So I definitely hope there are more Republicans, not just Democrats, will be supporting this bill.
Well, I made that call to all the acupuncturists, and I was delighted to hear about all these stories of Congress members, not just Democrat, but also Republican, who have had acupuncture treatment. So acupuncture is increasingly popular. across the different states. That's why I think now is the time to be able to get this bill passed. And one story is Robin Kelly, a Democrat from Chicago, Illinois, who said to me, "I want to sign on to the bill. I've had acupuncture and it really helped me."
Well, I think our strategy was correct. People have to experience it because even acupuncture has been around for 5,000 years, but not many Americans have experienced acupuncture. Well, so what is the future for these two bills?
Well, we start with the Acupuncture for Our Heroes Act with the veterans. And the first step is having a hearing. So we have high hopes for having a hearing in the Veterans Committee. And the reason I have high hopes for that is the chair of the committee is Congressmember Mark Takano, who's a previous co-sponsor of this bill and from California, where, of course, acupuncture is very well known. The second thing is getting all the acupuncture groups to be able to meet with their Congress members and explain this bill, explain acupuncture, and tell those Congress members why it is necessary. So I just had a big virtual town hall in which we called upon acupuncturists to do this. But also there have been lobby days, big lobby days actually, by the acupuncturists to meet with the different Congress members on this. So it is not easy because, you know, it's not easy for your average person to explain why they should co-sponsor a bill. It's not even easy for the average American to understand how a bill is passed. So it takes a lot of education, and I believe we're getting somewhere in that the acupuncturists are learning to participate in this and learning what it would take to pass a bill like this.
Yeah. Well, talking about education of the public, now you currently serve on the Ways and Means Committee. This is a very powerful committee. So educate our public and why this committee is powerful.
The Ways and Means Committee has power over every bill that has a financial impact because it has to come up with the funding for that bill. So that's why so many bills come under its jurisdiction. And as a result, it is a powerful committee, in fact, one of the most powerful committees in the House of Representatives.
So as a public, if they want to support a particular bill, what can they do? How can they get involved in the process?
Well, it is important for them to exercise their voices, and there are many ways that they can show for their support for a bill. They can call, they can email, they can meet with their Congress members, and they can exercise their voices in such a variety of ways. And they can urge their Congress members to co-sponsor a bill. That's very powerful right there. See, the more co-sponsors a bill has, the greater chance it has to get passed.
Well, we are just so fortunate to have you and to serve on our behalf and to have a voice.
Yes.
So on the personal note, as a woman, as a Congresswoman, how do you juggle your career and your family life, especially you live in California and work in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I spend every week here, and then I go home during the weekends. So it is a very, very hectic schedule, and I fly 5 hours to come here, and I fly 5 hours to go back. So I'm in the air a lot, for one thing. And the other thing is it's quite a challenge to juggle the schedule because I have so many meetings and events here, and I have so many meetings in the district. If I didn't have my staff, I would not know where I was going. You know, they have to keep me organized. But yes, it is a challenge to always know where I'm going and always knowing what to say and remembering what it is I need to accomplish when I'm in a particular location.
So what does a typical day look like for you?
So here I have many, many meetings. The meetings are so numerous that actually I can only spend 15 minutes on a meeting. And then I have numerous hearings, and the hearings are very involved and often on very complex subjects. But In the midst of all of that, they call votes. So you never know when they'll call a vote. When they call a vote, you have to drop everything. And you have to run down to the floor and hope that you can cast your vote before they close the time to vote. Otherwise, you miss the vote. That would be terrible.
Well, on behalf of the Asian Chinese American community, I really want to thank you for being here and be our voice, and also support so many bills, and also causes that impact not only the Asian American Chinese, but also America as a whole.
Thank you so much.
You are watching Global Dragon TV's special report of Rose Hong's exclusive interview with the first Chinese American Congresswoman Judy Chu. Please tune in to our next special report on our 24-hour channel or visit our website at www.globaldragontv.com.